You're listening to SM Media, the home of exclusive West of Scotland Football League content. Hi folks, and welcome to the latest episode of the SM Media West of Scotland Football Show. I'm Scott McPike. It's an absolute pleasure to be your host as always, and I'm delighted to welcome this week's special guest. It's a pleasure to welcome on to the show the assistant manager of Whitletts Victoria, Eoin Waite. Eoin, welcome to the show, mate. It's a pleasure to have you on.
Hi Scott, delighted to be here. Been a while coming. You've said to me a couple of times, but here we are. Here
we are, and it's probably better to be on at a time when you're kind of in a good run. Like if you'd said to me, maybe around Christmas at Whitletts would have went in I think he's 12 games unbeaten or something in all competitions. To go for that, something like that.
Currently, we're 1 defeat in 11 games.
There you go.
That's the current run. That's the league format. That's including cups and stuff. But in terms of league, it's 1 defeat in 11.
What would you say if I told you that at Christmas that you'll go on that run? Because it just seems like I thought from potentially the cup that you obviously lost to Renfrew in penalties. I thought it was a big recovery for them, obviously, to lift their heads and things like that. To now be on a run like you are on, and obviously in a really good position in the league compared to where you were a couple of months ago, it's been some recovery.
Oh, see, in terms of the boys we've got there, we always had the belief that the boys could put a run like that together. It's really hard in that league. Obviously, you know yourself, you see it every week. Results don't go the way you think they're going to go, but we believe in the squad we've got there. After the cup final, it's a case of, listen, we need to pick ourselves up and get on with it. And it's hard. People look at it and go, oh, that could go either way. But the boys, credit to them, they've dug in deep and got us where we are now. And long way to go still. Long way to go, sorry, aye.
Aye, and obviously like yourself and Gordon coming for the kind of hockey like under 20s and things like that. Like, how different's the kind of step up been for yourselves? Like, obviously, like you're coming from a kind of youth background, and what's that kind of been like getting into a kind of a senior environment?
Oh, it's completely different. Completely different. Gordon, he's got a different role to me. Obviously, he's dealing with a budget and dealing with things like that, and that's not really my side of it. But I've seen the stress he's been under and trying to work out stuff, and I couldn't do his role just now. But in terms of the professionalism, the difference you get, you're not getting daft boys. I'm not saying whoever was daft boys, but you know what I mean. Mm-hmm. You got a lot more boys that are growing up and stuff. And they're paid to be at the end of the day, and they want to be there. So it's a big difference, definitely.
Yeah, and I was obviously I was down at Whitletts a wee while ago, and like, obviously down at the parties are planning and going to next year, just behind the activity centre. That there's obviously a lot of plans for the future, and speaking to a couple of people there, there's clearly an ambition for where the club want to go. So how's that kind of been as well? Like seeing the kind of strides the club are making. Like I remember Whitletts 10 years ago, and it was a proper kind of junior team playing at the dog track and things like that. To see where they're planning and going is such a massive sway.
No, definitely. The plans are all there. It's just getting all in motion and stuff, and it's all money at the end of the day, mate. Yeah. And sometimes it's hard to get funding for stuff, but credit to the guys behind the scenes. They're knocking their pans in, week out, trying to get source funding at the end of the day. So hopefully, I don't think it will be ready in terms of completely ready for the start of the season.
Yeah.
For what I'm told, but I think the kind of target is potentially Christmas. So don't quote me on any of that, but that's what I've kind of been hearing a wee bit.
It's recorded now, mate. We need to hold you to it. But like obviously as well, the league, like we talk about every week, the competitiveness of that league is unbelievable, and being on that kind of run, like you see just how kind of it's right because you've won your first 2 games as well in the league, and obviously the point deduction, and then after that things became a bit difficult. Lost a couple of players. And then obviously just to kind of build, like beating the likes of Kilbirnie, like there's a lot of good results in there as well. Just what would you put it down to? Was it always kind of like did you always think you would get better as the season went on?
We always had that belief, like I said, mate, that we would get better. It was just installing mine and Gordon's belief into the boys. And at times where we were losing a goal early doors, and the boys didn't have the belief that we were going to come back and overturn that goal. if you look at all results after the first 2 wins, there was, apart from Ben Bud away, there was no games where you would say they were absolutely horse there. There's 4 3s, there's 3 2s, there's 2 1s. But the difference in the boys now, going 1-0 down away to Kilburn 2 or 3 weeks ago, come in at half time, one each. Game could have went either way. At the end of the day, both teams probably thought that was a fair result. But the boys are certainly believing in themselves now. And we're keeping clean sheets, which we had 2 in the bounce here before Saturday. So that's obviously a massive help. But like you say, losing 2 or 3 players at the start of the season wasn't ideal timing. But we're not going to hold boys back for going higher if that's what it is. They can go and do.
Yeah, absolutely. And we'll get your thoughts in the big game tomorrow night as well. Massive game for you away to WOSFL on Tuesday night. But we'll get into the action over the weekend. Again, just another fascinating weekend across the 5 divisions. Start with the Premier Division. There's no better place to start than Friday night. Kilwinning versus Clydebank. I think a lot of people thought this would be a tight game. Kilwinning obviously badly needing a result. Clydebank obviously a kind of riding on next weekend. Obviously going to play Auchinleck in the final of the West Cup. Kilwinning 0, Clydebank 7. Connor Higgins with a hat trick. Alan Kelly with a double. Mulcahy and McKinley with the goals. I don't know if I didn't see a result of this coming, but I'm not overly surprised because I think Kilwinning, I think there's big problems there. I think they're in real trouble now, and I've always held the thought that they will have enough to get over the line and kind of stay up. But now I'm looking at it going, they've got a lot of problems now.
That's a hard one. That's a horrible result to take. And Gordon was talking about the interview after the game. The guy, I'm not sure the new gaffer's name, but he seemed just dejected and just, it's a hard one. In terms of looking at their games, they've still got 5 games left. There's 4 games in hand to Petershall, 2 to Arthurlie. So they're still technically in it, but how do you go and bounce back for a 7-0 defeat at home? Morale must be really low in the place. You don't want to see them getting trounced like that ever. But how do they bounce back for that? I don't know.
And you look at their kind of games that are coming up as well. Obviously, away to Beath on Saturday. Sorry, they then play Rob Roy, Largs. That game against Petershill in the last game could be very, very intriguing. Obviously, both sides will be desperate to win that game. Flipping it over to Clydebank, though, a lot of confidence they'll take for that result going into Friday night.
Well, Clydebank, they beat Talbot just last week there. Yeah. Going there, beating Kilwinning 7-0. I think they're away to Kirkintilloch tomorrow night as well. So they'll be going there full of confidence, looking to get a result, take that into Friday.
Yeah, absolutely.
Cup final against Talbot, you never ever write Talbot off, but Clydebank will be going there, having beaten them twice this year in the league. So they're in a good place, obviously, right now. Yeah,
absolutely. 2 very different stories for that game. Obviously, Clydebank kind of really steady in 5th place. Kilwinning, obviously, a lot of work to do to keep the Premier Division status. Let's move into I think, a result nobody saw coming. Beath, obviously, going for the title. They're only, obviously, 2 wins away for securing it. Post Troon, people are thinking this could be a big game for them. Beath 0, Troon 4. Kyle Goroy with a hat trick and Jamie Gallagher with a goal. Again, just a weird result, and Beath's unbeaten run comes to an end. But you have to hand it to Troon. That's a brilliant result for them.
That's a very top result, got to be. Some people might say they've took their eye off the ball a wee bit, maybe got a wee bit ahead of themselves, but I just feel that Beath have went this year under the radar. They haven't been running about shouting, singing about going and winning the league and stuff. They've just kind of went about their business. They've went places, ground out results. I think they'll only need, is it 2 wins for the last 5 or 4 or something?
4 games left, and I think they only need 2. I think they only need 2 wins, yeah.
They've still got Darvel to play. Talbot still to play Darvel. It might end up only being 1 win, but in the grand scheme of things, I think they'll see it over the line.
Yeah, absolutely. I think they will as well. I think obviously a big game kind of coming up for them in midweek. We'll talk about that. Darvel, obviously, the first game without Mick, a 2-1 defeat away to Rob Roy. Young and Anderson with the goals for Rob Roy. Massive 3 points for them. Again, 2 different sides of the table. I don't think a lot of people thought Rob Roy would beat Darvel, even without the manager.
That's another strange one, but Rob Roy is always a hard place to go. It's weird seeing them down the bottom side of the table because they're always usually a team that's minimum top half. I didn't know what to expect for that game. Obviously, Southie and that will be trying to make a mark to potentially get the job. I don't know, but I'm sure Darvel will be looking to finish as high as they can as well. Second place will be their target, potentially. Also, maybe Beef might slip up. Darvel might try and nip in there. But that result won't help that, obviously.
Yeah, definitely. Pollock, obviously, a 1-0 win over Cambuslang. Sean Burns with the goal for them. And Pollock just steady, 1 game left. Just a steady end to the season. Third, they'll be looking to kind of close third. Obviously, Auchinleck caught in their heels, only a point behind. They'll be 5 games in hand. And Pollock, again, we've spoken about this a lot. Max has been in there. He's just steadied the ship. And I think if you'd gave him third at the start of the season, I think they would have taken it.
I think they would have took third at the start of the season. Looking at it just now, there's still games below them. Clydebank, Talbot, with 4 and 5 games in hand to them. So potentially they could, even Meadow, but I don't think Meadow will catch them, to be fair. So they potentially could slip down to 5th. Is that a successful season for Pollock? I don't know. Finishing 5th, I'm not sure. But like you say, steady the ship, and I think they'll be ready to go again next year with a better challenge.
I think the turnaround as well. Obviously, Stuart coming in for Rob Roy, but he'd done really well, taking over at Pollock, and it just bringing it, kind of getting his own kind of mark in the team. I think next summer they could. I wouldn't be surprised if they brought in a lot of good players as well. Auchinleck 2-0 win over Arthurlie. They beat Arthurlie as well away from home a couple of nights before that. Auchinleck 3 wins in a row. Obviously, a lot of get into the game on Friday night against Clydebank in the West Cup. Smith and Armstrong as well with the goals. And what's your kind of thoughts on Auchinleck this season? Has it been a kind of, do you think it's been a bit of a disappointing season, or has it just been a kind of transitional period for the team?
The one's not 100% sure, but what I will say is in terms of their fixtures, mate, that's it coming towards the end of March. They've only played 15 league games.
Yeah.
Talbot's get floodlights. Talbot could be playing midweek whenever. That's obviously not an issue that Henry and that they'll deal with that. I'd imagine they will anyway. It's something they're not accustomed to. They do it every year, but I think this year they'll just be trying to finish as high as they can, potentially hope B slip up, and then finish with a cup on Friday night. That's kind of obviously the aim this year, to finish off.
It absolutely is. And another obviously former Talbot man, Stuart Davidson's Larkside 1-4-1 at home to Hurlford. David Ramsey with a double, Jamie Martin and Will Sewell. And Largs have just been one of those teams that have just been so under the radar. I think a lot, like, to see like David Ramsey been a kind of big player as well. I've been really impressed with them this season. I really thought, like, sitting in 7th, I didn't see that at the start of the season. So to be where they are, I think is a testament to how good Arnie's done there.
Yeah, he's done a great job. There's nobody you'll ever speak to that will say they enjoy going to Lags for an away day, because it's a horrible place to go and they always make it tough for you. So I think if they finished 7th there, I think Arnie will be delighted with that this year.
Yeah, absolutely. Cumnock 2, Irvine Meadow 1. Cumnock now go up to 9th in the table, their first win in 3 games. Fry and Dolan with the goals. Cumnock as well, obviously, kind of steady season. Same with Irvine Meadow. Irvine Meadow with a lot of kind of changes in the management department, but two sides in course for a steady season, I would say.
2 sides, steady season, mate. I think Cumnock have kind of struggled for a full squad for a few weeks, injuries, etc. I've seen obviously H.A. and Gint's on the bench at times. Even Paul Burns was back on the bench one week. But I think Cumnock, looking at the table, they're definitely safe anyway. They'll just be trying to nurse themselves to the cup final and hopefully win the cup final for them. Meadow, like you say, a bit of turmoil and changing the manager and stuff. I think they're just on the same kind of boat, just nursing to the end of the season, finish as high as they can, looking towards next season to build a new squad.
Absolutely. Final game in the Premier Division, Petershill 0, Glenafton 2, O'Kane and Murphy, 2 goals in the last 10 minutes. Glenafton sitting in 11th. I don't want to say Glenafton are safe. I think they'll maybe need a couple more. They've obviously got 5 games left to play. They'll maybe need 1 or 2 wins just to seal safety, but I think they're probably home and hosed. I think they'll be fine.
I have to agree, mate. I think another win would just seal that safety. But I'd imagine Steve will be delighted after the cup semi-final last week. Got to Petershill. It's no, an easy place to go as such, but potential banana skin after the week before, getting up there 1-2-0, 3 points down the road, as they say.
Yeah, and I think obviously as well, coming back for that kind of disappointment last Friday against Cumnock, to beat Clydebank at home and then to go to Petershill and win 6 points, I think that shows you just that they've no let it get them down too much, and it's all about getting a place for next season in the Premier Division. First Division, let's start with Whitletts 1-1 draw away to Neilston, still levelling points. You obviously played a game less. What was your kind of overall thoughts in the game?
I'm going to be honest, mate. I think if you spoke to Kevin at Neilston, he would be in the exact same position as me. It wasn't a great game of football, to be honest with you. But the part was a bit bobbly. Wind, cross, kind of diagonal wind coming across the part. Wasn't many exciting possessions of play. It was all kind of in the air and hot tatty stuff. Oh, it was one of the ones we took the lead and we felt as if we said at half time, 1 goal wins the game. We're up 1-0 and kind of no cruising, but just no conceding any chances.
Yeah.
And then a bit of a kind of mix up between left back and winger. It resulted in our left back getting sent off. So, and a penalty because the ball was still in play. So that was kind of Neilson's biggest chance of the game. Took it, and after that, I felt the credit had to go to our boys for digging deep, because, as you can imagine, against the wind, 10 men, our boys dug deep and got the point. So delighted to, like we spoke about before, in terms of at the start of the season, that when a game we might have went and lost 2-3-1.
Yeah.
So credit to the boys for digging that out there and keeping the point.
Yeah, absolutely. Big result, obviously. 8 games left in the league. We'll get into that kind of later on, but a big point, obviously, been down to 10 men away to Neilston. The top 6 all played each other in this league, and we'll just go through the games. We'll start with St Cadoc's. They're now top of the league by a point. They won 2-1 away to Drumchapel, obviously coming from behind through Dykes and Slattery. Big 3 points for St Cadoc's, obviously. Title rivals, these 6 sides, it's going to be very tight come the end of the season. There's only 7 points between first and sixth, and it just shows you just how this league is operated this season. But St Cadoc's, huge result.
That's a big result. Obviously, they've played a couple of games more than Drumchapel and Gartcairn, so they've got to keep just getting 3 points on the board. Going to Drumchapel, it's not an easy place to go with the quality they've got in their squad. So they'll be delighted with that. As would anybody, to be fair, got Drumchapel 1-2-1.
Yeah, absolutely.
Drumchapel, they'll still feel the games they've got left, they should still be challenging for the title, never mind just going up. But it's another game ticked off for St Cadoc's.
It certainly is. Gartcairn drew 1-1 against Benburb. Lovering put Benburb ahead. Gartcairn equalised through Jordan Love. Both levelling points, still saying Gartcairn have played 3 games less, but again, probably a game. If you'd said to me, like, what was the game you thought would be a draw out of those 3, I would have probably said all 3 at one point. But Gartcairn, Benburb, I think they're 2 very even sides, 2 sides in kind of decent runs as well. And Gartcairn are still unbeaten in the past few weeks, so it's making up for a really tight season.
Out of all the teams we've played at the top, I kind of felt Gartcairn were one of the better teams.
Right.
We've played Benburb twice. They've beat us. We beat them. For me, that's a good point for Benburb. After coming to us last week and getting beat 2-0, to go up to Gartcairn and get a draw, they'll probably delight it with that, to be fair. Well, no delight it. They'll be happy enough.
No, but they'll take it.
They'll take it. That's exactly it. After last week, bouncing back to go to Gartcairn, hard place to go, because it's windy to tap it at Hull up there. So
it certainly is. Other result in the top, Johnson went to Kilburn, 1-2-1, goals from Crooks and Gillespie. Johnson, again, I keep saying about Jamie, just the job he's done in there to even be kind of challenged. Like those sides, like I know, but I don't like talking about budgets and things like that, but I know for a fact that Jamie will be working under a lot less budget than most of the sides above him. To be in the position he's in, it's a massive result and a massive testament to the job he's done there.
Aye, Jamie's done a great job up there. To go to Kilburn, it's like all the top teams there, they're all hard places to go.
Yeah.
Kilburn is it's a hostile environment down there. You've been there yourself, but to go there and pick up 3 points, Jamie would delighted that. They play decent football. They like to knock it about. And they've done a good job there, Coburn. We were there 2 or 3 weeks ago and we took the draw, but we love 3 points, but so they've done it. And top 6, potentially looking to catch Coburn there. Top 5 for Johnson Borough, be a great season.
Right, I'm going to put you in the spot. Who finishes top 3 in that league?
Oh, why do you do this to me,
Scott?
Scott?
You don't need to go in order, to be fair, because I think you would. I don't think anybody could pick an order out of that because it's just so tight. But I'm going to put you in the spot. Who's going up?
I'm going to go, obviously no particular order. Gartcairn, St Cadoc's and Drumchapel.
Right. And I'm going to keep my judgment until later on in the season because I think it's still a bit too close to call. But again, it just shows you how tight. And all 6 playing each other, it shows you there's only a goal between 2 games and the other one's a draw. It's very, very tight, and it's going to just keep getting tighter as the season goes on. St Roch's 4, Rutherglen 1. St Roch's on a bit of a good run, actually. Won the last 3 games. Ross McDonald with a double, Brennan and Maguire with the goals. And St Roch's have been another team that just been kind of flying under the radar as well. They had a bit of a difficult spell, kind of mid-season. Obviously, Davey lost his job, and the kind of new management teams come in. They've been a good recovery the past couple of weeks.
Aye, St Roch's started the season pretty well, to be fair. Had a bit of a bad spell, changed the manager. But I like you say, is that 3 wins in the bounce you've said there?
3 wins in the bounce, yeah.
Being Rutherglen Glencairn, it's a Scottish Cup finalist team, mate, so they're no a daft team. So to win 4-1 shows you how good they must have been on the day.
Yeah, absolutely. Another big result, Blantyre 1-2-1 at home to Cumbernauld. Gallagher and Zeb with the goals. Thornwood winning 2-1 at home to Rossvale as well. There are 2 teams. Thornwood obviously up to 8th in the league. Blantyre needed that win. They obviously go to 10th place as well. It's a big result for them. And 2 sides that are, I would say, probably since they obviously you know David quite well. David getting in there, he's kind of steadied the ship. Fraser Stobie scored twice there, and they're 2 sides that you think they're just they'll want to kind of build on these wins at the weekend.
Aye, we actually go to Thornwood on Saturday.
Yeah.
So I'm not to say too much about them. We're going there on Saturday, and then I think we play Blantyre in about 2 weeks as well. So 2 teams, if you see the table yourself, they're both right round about us.
Yeah.
So for them, we drew on Saturday. They picked up 2 wins, a win each. So we're looking forward to these games with the battle we've all got going at the bottom of this table to try and stay up, if you like.
Yeah, absolutely. It's going to be very fascinating. Final game as well. Shotts 1, Bonnet 1. I just keep it. Obviously, Shotts as well. They had a big win last weekend. A very even game, well reports. Bonnet as well. I just keep raving about the job Ross has done there as well. I don't think many people thought Bonnet. I don't know if you'll agree or disagree, but Bonnet. I don't think a lot of people had Bonnet in 9th place at the end, kind of middle of April.
It's a hard one, mate. Bonnet's a hard team to break down, I felt. But as it stands right now, in terms of the table, they're sitting 9th, but I think they'll be sweating a wee bit. They've played 28 games, we've got 2 games left. I think it's Rutherglen and Shotts. There's big gaps between their 2 games. I don't know. I'm not 100% sure.
To be a very interesting end to the season, but I think
very interesting for them.
Yeah, I think the job he's done though as well to even get them in a position where they could survive. I know last season a lot of people thought they would maybe be in a bit of free fall, but Ross went in, he's completely steadied the ship, and I think as well Shotts. I think Shotts will be fine as well. I'm very fascinated at how this season's going to end up in this league. Second division, we'll start with a big game, which was Maybole 1, Renfrew 3. Maybole were 1-0 up, but a Kieran Diver double and a goal from Dominic Lavelle and a huge 3-1 victory for Renfrew. And it now puts them 10 points clear at the top of the table. And I think they're pretty good for promotion.
Aye, it'd be hard to see by Renfrew. To be fair, even just winning the league, to be honest. Obviously, we played them in the cup final, knocked it about well. Hard working team. So, by all accounts, it seems they deserve to be where they are at the top of that league.
Yeah, and I thought this was obviously like a big game as well because Maybole are probably the one team you would say could potentially catch them. To go away and beat them, and especially being 1-0 down, it shows you just they've got a lot of kind of what's the word, fortitude, like to come back for that kind of deficit against your kind of league rivals. It shows you they've got the ability here to go and win this.
Aye, it's very tight at the top of that table there. Maybole obviously we got to that result. Like you say, a win there they've got 3 games in hand to run through, so a win there would have enhanced their chances of going and winning the league. But I think if you'd asked Carlo at the start of the year, promotion, top 3, I'd been delighted with that.
100%. Another team that's doing really well, obviously big win at the weekend. Ashfield, a 3-1 away victory over Yoker. Johnny Black with a double. Sitting in second, obviously 3 points clear now in second. They played a game more than Maybole, but they're in the middle of a 4-game winning streak. And Ashfield are another team that's just been they've went about their business so well.
Ashfield's a team that I don't really know too much about, mate. But they seem to be doing the business there.
Mm-hmm.
It's hard to see, they've got 6 games left. Teams below them all played more games, so it'd be hard to see them not going up. So I'd imagine that Ashford will be delighted with that.
Yeah, they certainly will. Big result for Craig Mark. Callum Ball scored a double in a 5-2 away win over Glasgow Perthshire. And Craig Mark, obviously, there's 7 games left to play on 41 points. They'll want to get a run going. They've maybe inconsistency recently has been a problem. That was their first win in 4 games. They'll want to build on a result like that.
That's a huge result. That's another game that's a game at the top, going for promotion.
Mm-hmm.
I think Craig Mark's got 7 games left. I think they've got 4 at home.
Right.
And that's another horrible place to be going. It's down there. Tough team to go and beat away from home. So they're not out of it.
No,
you know
certainly not.
They'll still be thinking they're still in it. So going to Perthshire winning 5-2 certainly helped your chances. That's for sure.
Yep. 3 big 1-0 victories. Glasgow Uni beat St Anthony's 1-0 on Friday night. Dylan Duncan with a goal. Big result for Wishaw. They obviously moved out of the relegation zone. They won 1-0 away to Kilsyth Rangers. Cammy Lawson with a goal for them. And 4th, beating Maryhill 1-0. Conor McQueen with a goal there. And it just shows you it's been another tight league, tight 1-0 victories. But I would say probably Wishaw is the big result out of that. Obviously moving out the drop zone.
Moving out the drop zone, that just gives you a big kick. It gives your full dressing room a lift. They've got 8 games to go. Coming out of drop zone, can they kick on? Potentially. So they'll be looking at that and saying, 8 games to go, let's go and save ourselves here.
Yeah. Greenock won, Glasgow United won as well. Greenock maybe been a bit disappointing this season. They were in a good position at the start, but they've just not been able to get many wins in the board. And they'll be wanting this. They can obviously still stay up. It's going to be very tight down the bottom of the league at the end of the season, but they would have probably felt that as 2 points drop.
I think you'll be disappointed with that, Greenock. Especially playing the team that's bottom of the league. It looks as if Glasgow, you hate talking about stuff like this, but it looks as if they're they're away.
Yeah,
They would need to go and win 7 games in the bounce, and they've only won 2 games all season, so to go and win 7 games in the bounce would be a big ask. I think Ian will be asking his boys for a big last 4 games to try. They're only 3 points behind Wishaw, although even behind Maryhill, so they've still got a chance.
They've still got a chance.
I think you have them fired up, ready to go for the last 4, that's for sure.
It certainly will. It'll be a huge end of the season for them. 3rd division, Lanark moved level in points with Ardrossan at the top. Ian Watt with a double and Darren Lang with the goals there. Lanark have just been so good this season, just so solid, winning games. They've got a wee bit to make up in goals, but they just need to keep winning.
This is a league, Scott. You better not ask me about who's going to finish top 3, because I've got absolutely no idea. It's there's 5 teams there that can all still go up.
Yeah.
I think Les Mahego's maybe just a bit too much to do there.
Yeah, I think
8 games left. But Ardrossan get points in the board, Lance get points in the board. But looking below them as well, the 3 teams below them, all the games in hand.
Yeah.
That'll be a tough one to call.
It certainly is. Vale of Clyde obviously keep their unbeaten run going, 4-2 win away, at home to Lugar, sorry. Thomas Sinclair with a double. Thomas Sinclair must score every week.
That would delight his manager, mate. That would delight his manager. I feel a bit for George. He's putting a lot of effort and time in there.
Yeah.
I'm kind of like to see local teams staying up, so he would be disappointed with that. But obviously, at the end of the day, games against Vale of Clyde would define Lugar's season.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm kind of hoping they stay up.
It's going to be, I just they've had a really difficult kind of period as well. They were going okay at the start of the season. They just a difficult period. And as you say, see when you're in the middle of that losing streak, it is difficult to kind of pull yourself out of it. Same when you're winning as well. You just get into the habit, and it's difficult to break that down. So, like, you look at Vela Clyde, they're winning well. Larkhall obviously won again, 2-0 at home to Girvan. Kello, Les Mahago probably kills Les Mahago's slim chance. I wouldn't say I didn't think they'd much of a chance of staying getting in the promotion hunt anyway, but obviously kills their chances off. Dalry 0, Irvine Vicks 0. Again, that'll be a disappointing result for Irvine Vicks. You've got East Kilbride Thistle 3, Royal Albert 2, Calute 1, Bells Hill Athletic 3, Vale of Leven 3, Fanart 2. And it just, obviously that league, it's very, very interesting. There's a lot of teams like it definitely has kind of split into three. You've got the top 5, you get the kind of teams in the middle of the park, maybe for Les Mahago down to, I would say maybe Vale of Leven, who are just going to kind of stay up. And I think you've got a kind of bottom 5 that are kind of set in stone now. It's going to be a very interesting end of the season just to see who kind of fills these spaces. But 4th division with 1 game, BSC 2, Rossvale 1. We don't really know much about the game because we haven't got any goal scorers or anything like that. But again, that league could be very fascinating next season. We've got a lot of teams putting a lot of kind of plans in place to have a go at it next year.
That's a league. It's a lot of teams I don't know a lot about. Obviously, I know about Threave. I've played Threave and we played Thorn. Both teams, well, Threave beat us in the cup after the cup final. I was quite impressed with them. Even Thorn, who we beat in the semi-final of that cup, I was quite impressed with how they set out that day as well. I feel this league was a lot of the year. Most of the year was spent talking about Kilsyth and what the job Bailey was doing. But I feel as if West Park just went under the radar and just come up and won that league.
Steady. Absolutely steady, yeah.
All the top for the first 16, 17 games was all about Kilsyth, and West Park's come through there and just won it by 4 points. Yeah. You know what I mean? So well done to them.
Yeah, absolutely. It's obviously I know it's going to be a very interesting week coming up in the west of Scotland. Yous will obviously have a big game on Tuesday night against Rossvale. Just going to run through some of the games that have taken place. Rob Roy play Clydebank on Tuesday night, and Largs play Auchinleck in the Premier Division. You've got in the First Division, obviously yourselves away to Rossvale. Wednesday we have a couple of games to talk about. We have Gartcairn play Drumchapel in the South Challenge Cup semi-final. Big games in the First Division that you'll be keeping an eye on. Shotts play Johnston. You've got St Rochs versus Thornleywood. Third Division, Dalry play Fanart. East Kilbride Thistle versus Bells Hill. Kello versus Saltcoats. Larkhall, Vela Clyde, Les Mahago, New Main. So it's going to be an interesting week coming up.
Very interesting week. Talbot and Clydebank obviously both looking to pick up wins to go into the cup final on a high. We've got a huge game away to Rossvale. Kello, they were looking to pick points up at the struggling Saltcoats. So there's plenty of teams in there. Our league against St Rochs playing Thornleywood. It's a 6-pointer in there for me.
You'll be keeping an eye on that.
We keep an eye on every team round about us, mate. We're always watching. So some very interesting games this week.
There certainly is, and obviously we'll touch about what's coming up at the kind of rest of the season for yourselves. 2 away games, obviously against Rossvale and Thornleywood. Then 3 massive home games. I would say you want to pick up 9 points. And how big will the games against Shotts, Neilson, and Blantyre at home be? In the space of a week, you've got 3 home games in a week from the 6th to the 13th. They're massive for you.
It's this week, actually, just before we go into the home games, we've got 3 away games in the Bows this week. So also about Neilson on Saturday, Rossvale tomorrow, and then we're away to Thornleywood on Saturday. It's the old saying, we're just taking game at a time at the moment. We're just taking it one at a time, ticking them off, doing what we can. We know what we need to do, and that's just keep winning and hoping for teams in about us to slip up so we can go as high as we can. The main aim for us, stay up. But in our own camp, we're aiming for as high as we can.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, we're wishing you all the best for the rest of the season. Ian, it's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you very much for coming on, mate.
Thanks for having me, mate.
Top man. Thank you very much for tuned in. Please follow us on social media for consistent West of Scotland coverage. And as always, subscribe to our YouTube and podcast channels. We'll be back next week, folks. We'll see you soon. Cheers.